Good afternoon. How are you? It is gorgeous out. It really is. And I know I don't have a hat on because it feels good not to have a hat on, but I have a hat with me if it starts bothering me. And the temperature's boiling 30 degrees, and it feels substantially warmer over the 26 yesterday. And I think it's like the snow holds us comfortable in the palm of its warmer hand. And the trees do block any wind, but there isn't any today. The talk today could be infuriating. For example, we have Nikki Haley tell us that America has never been racist. Okay, we all know that's false. She was questioned about it. And then she said, well, our intention was good. We always went about correcting it. And that's not true either. It was a point of contest that in Jefferson's draft Declaration of Independence that we're going to deal with slavery. And it was clear there would be no declaration if we did. And the Carolinas were among the strongest spokesperson not to interfere with their peculiar institution. The Constitution also treated slaves as fractional votes for purposes of representation in the Congress, but gave no franchise, not to blacks nor to women, nor basically to anybody who wasn't a property owner. So that's kind of our beginning. Now, as we go along, it's a constant problem in America. The Missouri Compromise of 1820, we had the Kansas-Nebraska Act of 1854, and then in 1860 we started having the secession resolutions in the South, including South Carolina, where Nikki Haley was the governor. She doesn't know about it. Now, as a kid in New York, I saw on the TV hoses turned on black persons who wanted to sit at a lunch counter. I saw people beaten at the lunch counter. I read of people trying to cross a bridge and being beaten and badly injured. I saw that people who went into the South to try to get people to vote were beaten, stopped, and killed. Jim Crow laws. I think that gives us a fair claim to racism, discrimination. And here's the thing. How can you be president of the United States and represent all the people if you won't acknowledge one of our problems? It's a problem. It has to be dealt with. We have to find a way to deal with it. We cannot ignore it. But apparently we choose to. Now, there are a couple of other strange things that interest me. One is that Alec Baldwin in New Mexico has now been charged with manslaughter. You may remember in that movie he was working on, there was a gun and there was a live round in it, and it killed a person on the set. And that's the manslaughter. Now the question is, they had decided not to pursue it. Now they've decided to pursue it. Why is that? What has happened? Now there's a story that says there are several videos of him, rehearsing before the scene. And I don't know what set of facts they could come up with. He saw it was a live round. He rehearsed and nobody checked the gun before he actually discharged it. All sorts of things. And how do they move from accident into criminal act? If convicted, he'd face 18 months. It sort of feels like it's a star effort action by the New Mexico prosecutors, but we'll find out. Returning again to the center stage of the two different rules for two different people. I mean, Hunter Biden is being chased at a time when he's under indictment and really should be taking the Fifth Amendment, not testifying before anybody else, which is what he would do if I represented him. Respectful disagreement from my colleague, my respected colleague, Abby Lowell, who has taken a different course, or at least he's producing his client later in February now. And so what do you think would happen if they held Hunter Biden in contempt Do you think our Attorney General, Sleepy, would prosecute him if he refused to testify? And while we're at it, why is it that Navarro and Bannon haven't served a goddamn day in custody? Why is that? How could that possibly be sensible, fair, just? But that's what it is. And then Trump, not to be outdone by others, is running around saying that if the Supreme Court doesn't allow him to be on the ballot, there would be bedlam and chaos. Yes. What does that sound like? Sort of like the kind of messages we got before January the 6th. And, you know, the notion that he says these voters are being disenfranchised. No. You have to qualify for the office. And when you assist in an insurrection, you know, that's not good on a resume in which you're asking to be the President of the United States to preserve and protect our Constitution. Sorry, but no sale. Unless you get any of the 6 hacks on the Supreme Court who shouldn't be there, particularly the last 3, then, you know, anything is possible. So what do I see? The questions I get are, how can that be? Well, we ignore the law. We ignore the Constitution. We ignore the law. We ignore the consequences. We ignore that a person should account for his, her, its wrongdoing, but we don't. And then as kind of a sidelight, down in Georgia, we have what I call the Willis-Wade mess. Willis being the Georgia prosecutor, Wade being the lead prosecutor on the Trump cases down there. And, okay, let's take the worst case scenario. These two persons were sleeping like bunnies, and they're adults. And as I understand it, Wade is separated from his wife. I don't know if there's a provision in whatever separation agreement they might have that they can both act free and clear of any responsibilities without being charged with, you know, cheating in their relationship. But, you know, that really shouldn't matter. And let me say this. The divorce case doesn't have anything to do with the criminal prosecution. I mean, I wait to have somebody tell me. But 2 people sleeping together who don't disagree about the prosecution and are paying compensation to the 3 people that Willis hired in the same amount and same way, that's it. That's the case so far. And everybody's anxious and upset about it. And why do we have this case? Well, the wife of Wade, Wade's wife, she's cooperating with the Trump team, and this is what's coming out of it. You know, America's in a really bad place. And if more people don't stand up and say what's going on, we are going to have this asshole in the White House next January. And we have to think about that, because that would be a disaster for what we think we understand is a democracy and a republic. So, I've warmed up the tree-lined pathway out my way. And if you get out, I hope it's like this where you are. It's very comfortable and it's kind of fun. But I'm not interested in making a snowman. So, I say goodbye to you today from my snowy cathedral of trees. All the best. Bye-bye.